Ba 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 boo ba. The Constitutionals. Hey, welcome to the Constitutionals. That's a theme song that'll never stick, made by myself. I'm the host, Chad White. This is the Constitutionals, just an audio diary thing for cpluscomedy.com, where you get a whole bunch of stuff. But that'll be plugs later. This is me. I'm alone again today. I would never have a guest, even though I hinted at maybe have a guest, but I won't. Let's see. What are we going to talk about today? I don't know. I just kind of sat down and just started doing this. I'll tell you about myself right now. I was just watching Fargo, catching up on the latest season of Fargo. I'm on episode 2, halfway through. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. Also watched Pretty Little Liars. Caught up. I'm about 2 episodes behind on that. That is my fault. Also, it's very difficult to watch a show where the characters are so dumb all the time. They do stupid things. Same thing with Flash and Arrow and Supergirl. Mostly dumb people on all those shows. But they're pretty, so it kind of counteracts. Yeah, you know what? I have an issue with that. I have a very big issue with all those shows. They're so stupid. Every single one of those characters are so dumb, and I dislike it so much. Oh my god. I was starting Supergirl. Supergirl is just, I think it's the worst out of all the DC shows. And they run the gamut, like Legends of Tomorrow. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. That show is probably the one I don't watch. Actually, is the one I don't watch. But Supergirl, I gotta force myself just to finish a 40-minute episode. Jesus, every single time, every single week, this girl has a crisis of faith in herself, and she can't complete the mission, or she's in love with a boy, or her sister's a lesbian, and it's always so difficult for her. For Kara, Supergirl, the cousin of Superman, which she's not afraid to say every single episode. You're the cousin of Superman. You can do this. It's, oh my god, it's so dumb. Every single thing. And I don't understand how this show is supposed to be a strength for women. How it's supposed to stand for femininity and be a feminist take on superheroes or whatever. When every episode is her just crooning about a boy.
He's a Daxamite and I'm a Kryptonian and I'm in love with him, but he lied to me because he's rich and he doesn't want to tell me about his family. He's a prince.
Oh, God. But Terry Hatcher is a great addition as a villain. I'm really enjoying her. She's a great actress. Loved her since Desperate Housewives. Moving on to Flash. Flash, I love this character. The show is just going downhill, and that's what happened to the Brillanti universe. That's what happened in Arrow at season 3 to season 5. It was not good, and now we're in season 6 of Arrow, and it's getting good. It's fantastic. They got into magic in season 5, and that was a pretty wishy-washy season. Season 4 was I don't remember anything. Season 3 was also don't remember anything. But yeah, so Flash is every single episode they decide we're not going to hide anything from anybody, and then the next episode they hide everything. Guys, learn from your mistakes. I should have to retread this. It's been 3 years, and every single episode is them just complaining. I am the Flash and I can't do this, and I can't. Oh my gosh, I want to watch it. This is why the Justice League cartoon TV show, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, are my favorite uses of superheroes, because they're the superheroes. It's them, and in Unlimited there's a roster of 60 of them, and they go through all these different characters. They know how to utilize them. Everyone gets their own time to shine. Everyone gets their own episode. Batman's not the forefront, which is what I hate about this new DC stuff. Batman is in front of everything, and then now they're trying to bring just the Trinity in front of everything, so it's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and you get real sick of that stuff, because the Flash is obviously the greatest superhero of all time, next to Cyborg and Green Lantern and Nightcrawler and not Wolverine. I wouldn't say that. Well, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so Justice League is the best one. I really do truly believe that. And then X-Men Evolution is up there. Spectacular Spider-Man. Static Shock. That show's great. I am forgetting one, because the Tick is fantastic. Any iteration of the Tick. If you don't like the tick, I hate you. Anyway, okay, back to what I was saying. So yeah, Flash, they always make mistakes. And then side note, everybody overacts in these shows. Every single person overacts, and it is delightful. Like Clive from iZombie, he's always, everyone's at a 10, he's at a 14, just a little bit too much. And then Arrow's getting back to greatness. I could do without all the F tier superheroes and the F tier villains. Wild Dog, is that his name? I don't know. The Hispanic guy with the guns. I love the actor because he's fantastic, but his character is the worst. Hoss. And Mr. Terrific, I enjoy him. I'm glad they have Mr. Terrific. Echo Kellum's a great actor, very funny guy. Did not know his hair was a wig. And they finally got the T-balls. After 19 episodes, they finally have the T-balls in there. See, T-spheres. I said T-balls. T-spheres in there. They don't float around. They're not sentient as they are in comic books and the cartoon, but whatever. Back to Supergirl. Martian Manhunter's, they make him a weak guy too, even though in Justice League they made him weak. He's the strongest character on the team. Gets shot down in 5 seconds in Justice League every single time. Ugh. Anyway, I'm also excited for the Wonder Woman movie. It's gonna be great. A lot of early reviews compare it to Captain America: The First Avenger, which is also one of Marvel's only good ones. Your decision to say which ones aren't, and I'm gonna say all the Iron Men. And Justice League's coming out this year too. And then next year is the Avengers Infinity War Part 1. Or they renamed it, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, this has nothing to do with what I'm saying. But later on, this week, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, I'm recording this the 8th. It's coming out the 9th of May, 2017. On the 12th of May, 2017, I will be on a dating show on NBC called NBC's First Dates. If you're listening to this, then you're obviously a fan of me, and let's say there's about 5 of you. It's being generous. It's being real generous. But I'll be on a dating show. It's a really cool dating show called First Dates. I went to Chicago, was on a date, and I came back. The end. That's the short of it. The long of it is, I went to Chicago. They set me up with at the time I just graduated from college, so I was still in my college city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, before I came back to Atlanta. And they set me up with a girl who's from Cleveland, Tennessee. Flew me to Chicago. First, I stopped off in North Carolina because that's how, planes from Chattanooga aren't going to go directly to a big city. So we stopped off North Carolina. It was a great time. Nice little layover. I think it was maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And I don't think I did anything except sit. And anyway, so then I got to Chicago O'Hare. And first thing I did was, when I got there, was an interview. Put my stuff in my hotel, went to an interview, the pre-interview, whatever. And I think that was on camera. Yeah, that was on camera. Yeah. And we did that. And then I was left to my own devices for the evening. So I went out, had some good old Chicago pizza. Chicago pizza is what they call it there in Chicago. If you've never been to Chicago, you're missing out from Chicago pizza. And I had some pizza. I got some dessert. And then in the morning, I ran from my hotel to, I don't remember where I stayed, from my hotel to the lake shore. It was like a beach-ish area. Chicago's not connected to the ocean, but it was a lake. I ran to the lake, and it had a beach front, and everybody was, I swear, when I say everybody was there running, everybody was there running. And then I took a picture of the sun rising because it was like 6 a.m. And I ran back from there to the hotel. And around 4 p.m., if I remember this correctly, they came and got me for my date. They took me to this condo area. And I was held there for a little bit, played ping pong with the PAs and stuff. And then I went on the date. And they took me to the restaurant, which is right across the street from the condo. Let's say took me to the restaurant. And then I went on the date, and I told a lot of good jokes. I was very funny. If I recall, keep in mind, side note, this was shot 2 years ago. I am not kidding. when I say this was shot exactly 2 years ago, and I was a completely different person. My hair wasn't growing out. The goatee was the same. I was working out the same. And I wore this. I know what I wore. It's a pink shirt and blue shorts. I mean, not blue shorts, and blue pants and brown Dockers slip-ons. It was a fancy restaurant, and I did not know. I wish somebody would have told me, but also I didn't overdress, so that's fine. I dressed on par, which is terrific. So I did the date, had a good time. It was great. Then after the date, we had to choose either getting in a car together, getting in a car separately, or walking off in the sunset. And we just said walk off in the sunset. So we walked off, and we talked crap for maybe 10 seconds after we were walking off. And then and I don't mean talking crap about the show. We talked, we just chitter chatter in Chicago with Chad White. We just spoke a little bit. And then after that, they split us up again, and they sent us up into separate interviews. And then we did together interviews. But while she was doing her separate interview, I was waiting. I took so many gosh darn promo photos. I wish I knew where they were. I wish I knew who had them, because I looked amazing. I looked hot. It was the word I was going to use before I said amazing, but I was on fire. I wish I knew how to get those pictures, because I was making the guy laugh. I was like, look at me do this stupid stuff. Yeah, I'm a really funny person. And so that's why I laughed. It's not funny. Then after that, we went, we did the together interview, and then they asked, would you like to see her again? And I said, yes. And she said, yeah, sure. Why not? And we were both Jay Leno when we did it. And then we moved on. After that, we went back to our respective hotels, changed. We met in the middle of Chicago, went for a walk, went back down to that lakefront, because that's the only place I knew where to go. I looked at the streets, because I had walked prior to me, when the first day I got there, after I did my interview and before I got my dinner, I went to I knew I was going to work out at the gym in the hotel, and I left my workout clothes. I packed this giant bag, but I left my workout clothes, and I was so angry at myself. So I had to go to the Under Armour store. I had to ask the hotel lady, because I think this is when I just got on Project Fi. And if you don't know Project Fi is Google's cellular service. They use Sprint's towers and T-Mobile's towers, and Cricket Wireless's towers, which uses AT&T. And so they're using those three towers to get you the best signal. So sometimes you're on T-Mobile, sometimes you're on Sprint, sometimes you're on Cricket or whatever. So I just got that phone. Yes, I had just got that phone, maybe 7-8 months prior. And it charges you by the gigabyte. So if you use 1 gigabyte, it's $10. If you use 20 gigabytes, it's $10. But if you use a gigabyte and 80 megabytes, am I doing the math right? I think. Yeah. If you do something like that, if you don't use all of your 2 gigabytes, they refund you the $2 or the however much money that you didn't use. So that's great. I would only recommend it for people who are on Wi-Fi most of the time, because if you're on Wi-Fi, you don't use anything at all. But if you're like me, you don't use your phone, you don't look for YouTube stuff when you're outside of Wi-Fi, that's perfect. But if you do, well, then don't use that. Anyway, so I had to go ask I wasn't connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi because it was trashy, it was garbage. It wouldn't even connect to my iPad. So I had to go ask the hotel people up front, hey, where can I buy some clothes? And they pointed me down. They just said, keep walking. I said, great. And I walked, found it, spent like 40 some odd dollars at the Under Armour store for 2 Under Armour shirts. It was the only place that I could go buy anything. And I do not regret it, because I do use those shirts every single week. I make sure I will use them. $40 for this crap. So anyway, I had that. And so we went down to that. I don't know why I went on that tangent. We went down to the lakefront and saw some kids smoking weed. I walked into this tunnel that smells like pee, because I guess homeless people hang out there at night. It was great. She was also a nice person. I am not going to reveal what happened what she told me later on. Actually, no, before our walk. So I got really quiet right when we started walking, and I'm not usually a quiet person, only when I want to be. But she told me something, and I just thought, well, that was a waste of my time even thinking this would go somewhere. So anyway, it was fun. It was great. So right this Friday, 8 p.m. NBC, watch it. It's called NBC's First Dates, produced by Ellen DeGeneres in Chicago, and narrated by Drew Barrymore. You can also watch it on Hulu, I assume, or NBC.com. I don't know if it's never going to be on television again. I don't know what happens to these types of shows. But yeah, it was fun. Had a good old time in Chicago. What if that opens up doors? I don't know why I screamed. What if that opens up doors? What if someone's like, I saw a guy on television. Let's put him on this dating show. Let's put him on this season of The Bachelor, even though they're already shooting it and shot it. So we can talk to Rachel. Is that her name? Is Rachel a new Bachelor? The Bachelorette. That's what I meant. Rachel Bachelorette. I'm going to look that up because there's no telling that. Rachel Lindsay. Oh my gosh. Do I need to not watch too much television. That's kind of sad that I know that. Anyway, yeah. Rachel Lindsay, is that her name? Yeah, that's her. Oh my God. I have watched too much television. Okay, so there we go. That's my first dates. That's my dating show story. NBC's First Dates. I thought it was fun. Also, I got a free trip to Chicago. Also, I had pizza 3 times. Also, I went to Portillo's for lunch one day. Yeah, I did. I walked. That was a long walk. I walked from my hotel to Portillo's. I think it was like a 20-minute walk or something like that. It was just long enough to where I didn't want to carry the food, so I just sat in there by myself. I didn't look at my phone. I just sat and looked outside the window, watched across the street at this McDonald's. I sat at this bar thing, watched across the street at this McDonald's, watched this homeless man try to talk to people and either giving him money or buying him food. And he tried to talk to me when I came out, and I was like, no, sir. I'm in no need for this. Did not run into anybody from the show Happy Endings. I know that show takes place in Chicago. It's one of my favorite sitcoms of all time because it's so funny. I miss Happy Endings. I watch Happy Endings at least once a week. With this, there's only 2 shows I watch on a regular basis. It's The Simpsons and Happy Endings, and I love both of those shows. And I'm not talking about seasons 4 through 10 of The Simpsons. I'm talking about every single season. Boy, that is sad. It's a sad life I live. Little known fact, I'm pretty sure I've discussed this before, but when The Simpsons World came to FX, the FX Now app, I was in school, senior year in college. So all I did was work, hang out, and go to school. And since I was so good at, working and going to school, I was just always hanging out and watching TV. So I remember for at least 2 weeks straight that I watched The Simpsons. Nothing else but The Simpsons. Just The Simpsons, period. I would be at home, let's watch The Simpsons, and I'd press the play random episode button on my Xbox, and it would just take me from seasons 1 through, at that point, was it 25, 26, something like that? So, yeah. I love that show. It's my favorite show of all time. It's the best show in the world. If you don't like it, that's your decision. Okay, so that's the end of this episode of The Constitutionals. Like I said, guys, I will try my best to get a theme song. It's not going to happen. I just ruined the joke. So, sorry, I have a sinus infection. I thought it was from smoking a cigar, but it's not. Oh boy, that was my nose. Sorry about that. So, go to what are we doing? Plug-in. What are we plugging? Oh, watch NBC's First Dates, starring me, featuring me. Yeah, whatever. This Friday, 8 p.m. NBC, and you can watch it on Hulu or NBC.com, Hulu.com/NBC. I don't know, something like that. NBC's First Dates, and then you can also head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where we've got the latest news, reviews, features, interviews, all the other good comedy bits that, only I can provide you with. No one else can. No one else can but me. Yeah, you can also head to the website. Nope, did that. Follow me on Twitter at Chad Black White. And I sometimes retweet things. Sometimes I like things. Rarely I tweet things. So take that as you will. I won't follow you back, but just follow me. Follow C+ Comedy on Twitter at C+ Comedy. That thing tweets at least once a day, 5 times a week. 5 times a week. At least once a day. And then I do a recap on Friday. But that's pretty much it. You can also head to youtube.com/C+Comedy to get really cool shows like Subpar Tunes, which I have not done an episode of in weeks. You can also watch the Patriarch show, the first show I've ever done. News Time, there's about 130 some odd episodes there, almost 140. And there's going to be at episode 150 something very special. So you can go to youtube.com/C+Comedy. This week's episode of News Time is about guest hosting. Last week, Jimmy Kimmel went on paternity leave to hang out with his very cool son who had heart issues, but now he's an okay baby. But last week, Will Arnett, Kristen Bell, Anthony Anderson, and David Spade all guest hosted Jimmy Kimmel Live, and that used to be a huge thing back when Carson was a host. He would take off every Monday when he got, like, in the later years of the Tonight Show, and people, like, they had a permanent guest host rotating chair list. So it was Arsenio Hall, Joan Rivers, David Letterman, just a whole bunch of people would just come in and guest host. It was great. So you should, I'm not going to speak on the history of that, but you should totally watch the episode to find out. youtube.com/C+Comedy. News Time. News Time is the show. And I assume there's other shows. Oh, On Comedy. Watch that, the documentary comedy series that I make. Haven't made an episode in months because it's hard to do so when you have a job like mine working for the news. That's it. That's all I got for you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.